gentlemen, welcome to the Greater Niagara Falls Sports Hall of Fame. Wow. It's going to be an easy crowd here applauding already. This is always a great function, and we've got a tremendous turnout tonight. And why not? We've got 9 inductees, so worthy of induction into this Greater Niagara Falls Sports Hall of Fame. We're going to begin, as all good things begin, with a prayer. And for that, we bring up board member William Ross.
Please bow your head. Bow your head, please. You know, there's so much to see in this great country, the United States of America, country indivisible, with a working Congress at times. And what they do is something that many, many countries don't have. And that's the retention of rights and privileges and freedoms. But that isn't the main attraction tonight. The main attraction tonight are 9 more inductees. And I say 9 more inductees, that is not an easy process, because these people had to pay the price or they wouldn't be here tonight. And we're very, very fortunate with the 9 from the standpoint what they do. They not only bring honor and recognition to themselves, they bring it to their family, and they bring it to the community, and they bring it to the school. And that is awfully, awfully important. And that should make them very proud, because certainly they're going to go beyond this banquet room tonight. Now, I worked out a special situation. I got the food blessed, so have a good appetite, and I'm going to say it. Amen.
Amen. My name is Bob Kaczynski. It's an honor to be here once again for the Greater Niagara Falls Sports Hall of Fame. And this is an impressive crowd. We've got a lot of dignitaries in the crowd. We've got a lot of familiar faces. And we've got some great names that are going to be inducted amongst those who've been inducted in the past. I'm going to bring up a gentleman who's done so much work over the last couple of years. He is an inductee. He was on the board. He's now the president of the Greater Niagara Falls Sports Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Joel Holka. Joe?
Thanks, Bob. Welcome to the 58th annual Greater Niagara Sports Hall of Fame. A couple years, or actually last year, we changed the name to the Greater Niagara. It used to be the Niagara Falls Sports Hall of Fame. The main reason was to let people know that we aren't doing just the city of Niagara Falls, that Wheatfield and Newport were part of the program. And last year we had a number of Wheatfield guys, a Newport guy, and this year we've got 1 from Newport, 2 from Niagara Falls, 3 from Niagara Catholic, and 3 from LaSalle. So people ask, how do you get into the Hall of Fame? And it basically starts with the application. If you know of somebody that you think is worthy with their sports accomplishments, if you know, or if you are somebody that you think might want to be a part of this, you basically go to our website, which is listed at the bottom of the program. It's the initial GNSHOF. .com, and that's where our application, and all the application is just put down your sports accomplishments. Simple as that. And you also have to commit to being here at the banquet. So that's it. And then the board of directors will talk it over, and hopefully you make it into the hall. My suggestion to those that do this is to make sure you give us all your accomplishments, because a lot of times we'll get somebody who's worthy, but they maybe give us 1 or 2 things to go on. Give us everything you got. Brag. talk yourself up, because that's what the application, it needs to speak for you, okay? Couple of things that we're looking for, or we're looking to add more women and people of color. We want to broaden our membership, if you will, so please keep that in mind. Once you've applied, you're good for 3 years, so you don't have to reapply. If you don't make it the first year, don't worry, because, matter of fact, there's a couple people this year that were in the mix last year that didn't make it last year that made it this year, so it's not, we just need your patience on this, because when we get a number of people, it's kind of hard to get everybody in all at once. We've lowered the age requirement to 50. It was 55, so starting next year, 50 and up can apply. A couple thank yous, Rich Brando and Emerge Media. We got Evan over here doing the filming, and Doug DiRamio doing photos. The photos will be up on our website and our Facebook page as soon as possible, and hopefully we'll get this video downloaded also on YouTube and so forth within the next week or so. Check us out. It's okay, at the end of the day, it's okay if you want to take your photos that are inside the plastic containers. So leave the plastic containers so Joe Colosi doesn't have to tackle you on the way out. Also, the bar will be open afterwards. You do not have to leave right away. And finally, a couple years ago, for years I used to give out a football award, and I used to always tell a joke. And Coach Cacciatore was always a big fan of my jokes, and I think he was the only one who was a fan of my jokes at the time. But he couldn't make it tonight, so I got one for you here real quick. There was this guy who was cutting through the woods, doing a shortcut to his house. He got his foot stuck in the railroad tie. So he's trying to get his foot out as the train's coming. He's yanking it and nothing's happening. Please, God, help me get out of this thing. Yanks it again, nothing happening. Please, God, I'll go to church on Sunday. Please help me. He yanks it, no go. God, I'll go to church every day. I'll quit smoking, I'll quit drinking, I'll give to charity. Please help me out. He yanks it, it still didn't come out. Finally, the train's upon him. Right at the last second, he pulls it out. He looks up, he goes, never mind, God, I got this one on my own. Like I said, Coach Cacciatore was the only one who liked my joke. Anyways, now let's turn this over to our MC. Bob Kaczynski is the former sports director at Channel 7. He's a 2014 inductee himself, and now the host of the new Nuff Said podcast, Bob Kaczynski.
Thank you, Joel. And I just called Coach Cacciatore, and he did not laugh at that joke either, so. It's great to be back. Couple rules. For those who've been here before, you know the mandate. Every inductee has been asked to try to keep their induction speech to 5 minutes. That way it's a tough crowd. So, at 5 minutes, I will gently rise from my chair, just as a little cue that it's time to wrap things up. Now, in the past, we've had some inductees basically have told me to sit down. But hopefully, we want it to be a manageable night. The other thing, you have to be 55 years or older to be inducted. Now, what happens at many Hall of Fames? I mean, this isn't a high school awards ceremony. You've got a lot of older folks here tonight. And what goes first when you're older? Well, most of us. Paul Smith, there's other things that go first. But what goes first is your hearing. Your hearing. So what do? You speak up. So after somebody receives their plaque and does their speech, it goes back to the table. Try to save the congratulations to a whisper so the next inductee has a chance to speak uninterrupted. Those are the rules. It's very simple. Right now I'm going to introduce those who have been inducted in the past, who are with us, and I ask them to please rise and please save your applause to the very end. And in alphabetical order, tonight we have past inductees, Martha Amoretti. Not a very coachable crowd. Dan Bazzani, Gary Burns, Joe Pelosi, Tony Dean, Pete Yotis, Joel Holka, Vince Mazza, Dan Maturko, Sean O'Leary, Joe Rizzo Sr. I'm especially happy that my Uncle Joe Rizzo Sr. is here tonight. Yes. Bill Ross, Tom Spanbauer, Paul Smith, Bill Broman, Lee Wallace, Jimmy Wingfield, and Jim Zaggy. Let's have a nice round of applause for all our captain athletes. We've got a number of dignitaries in the audience. I'm not going to bore you with giving introductions for everybody, but just a couple of key ones. First of all, I would like to give a shout out to the mayor of the city of Niagara Falls, Robert Restano. Robert? This gentleman's first job in Western New York was at WJJL. Ladies and gentlemen, you all know Howard Simon's here tonight. And more importantly, his beautiful wife Joanne, who went to LaSalle High School, is here tonight. That's what kept Howard in town, right, Howard? Yep. Now, we've never, to my knowledge, we've never had an Emmy Award winner in our presence at this Hall of Fame, but we do tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Dick Smothers is here tonight. There'll be others as we go through the night. But let's get started with our first inductee. And our first inductee tonight will be Sero Cardamone, escorted by Rose Holt. Sero Cardamone, a Niagara Falls native, excelled in both football and baseball at LaSalle Senior High School, earning multiple MVP and All-NFL honors, as well as All-West New York and All-State recognition. He went on to play baseball at LaSalle University, where he was a 4-year starter, hitting .315, ranked third all-time in triples, and helped lead his team to the 1985 ECAC Division I Championship and a top 20 national ranking. Inducted into the Niagara Falls Sports Hall of Fame this evening, he also played for Monmouth College, AAU baseball from 2003 to 2010, and as I said tonight, he's being inducted into the Greater Niagara Sports Hall of Fame, honoring his achievements as both an athlete and coach. Ladies and gentlemen, Sero Cardamone.
I thought this was going out alphabetical, so I wasn't ready. I'd like to thank the group for the nomination and the induction. Bob just read the write-up on it. I do want to make one correction on it, if you don't mind. It says that his talent helped lead the team to a runner-up finish in the 1981 New York State Championship playoffs. That was the 1981 LaSalle High School, Senior High School playoff. I did do my part. I didn't lead anything. I did do my part. And my part was to jump on the back of Tony Dean like the rest of the team did, who hit and pitch us to that final game. So Tony, thank you very much wherever you are. When I think about the days of growing up here and playing sports, it's very rare that the memories actually tie back to an actual game or a touchdown catch or, what was the score of that particular game where we won the championship, but rather it just built up a tremendous amount of memories, and through those memories it created a lot of very strong bonds. A lot of people don't know this, but I actually moved here. My parents moved, myself, my brother, and my sister, in the second grade from Philadelphia. And the first day of being at Prince of Peace, I met these two guys that happened to be here tonight, which is Mike DiRamio and Mike sports nuts like me. And that turned into a 58-year relationship, well, actually a 52-year relationship. We played street hockey every night, and I'm not talking every night, but most nights during the week. That turned into sandlot baseball in the summertime. That turned into football on the street or in sandlot. And those memories is what I truly remember. That obviously tied into high school. And I'm proud to say there's about a group of 15 of us that have stayed in contact all this time. We watched people get married, we watched children being born, and I'm so fortunate and so blessed to have those relationships still in my life today. That actually, that's more important. That extended also into college. I remember, I think it was my junior year, I went to go play for Town Boys Club in AAA. And I met this guy who I knew, I didn't really know him that well, but I met this guy named Tom Sotil. And I remember Tom telling me, where is Tom anyway? There you are, Tom. I remember Tom telling me, he's like, well, where are you deciding to go to school after you're done in high school? I go, I don't know. And he goes, well, would you consider LaSalle? I go, I already go to LaSalle. and he's like, and I go, where is that? And lo and behold, it's in Philadelphia. So the path went back to Philadelphia. But another group of great guys that we still in a lot of contact with. We get together often as a group. I remember my coach at the time, Jim McDonald, saying as we're going into the regional playoffs, this is something that you'll never forget. I never have forgotten that. And the one thing, and I was a sophomore that year, the one thing that you should know as far as it relates to the city of Niagara Falls, we had one hell of a hitting team. If we had pitching Tom, we would have went to the World Series that year, which would have been something else. But Niagara Falls' own Tom Sotil led us, and I would say along with Sam Boone, who you don't know, and Barry Petroshenko, he led us in that offensive attack to get us to where we got. So again, Tom's and his family have been prominent in my life. Those guys are still incredibly important to us and important to me, and that's what baseball has brought for me. Outside of, and again, even in those conversations, Tom, we don't talk about, outside of losing to Division III sophomore that year, we don't really talk about games or anything like that. And lastly, what's even more important is I've been blessed for a variety of reasons. I was born into a family that I know that cared about me and my brother and my sister. My sister today is our matriarch, and my brother-in-law is our patriarch of the family. And as you go through life changes, you need those people in your life to hold you up and keep you going. That's more important to me than anything. I happened to actually marry a girl from Niagara Falls, another LaSalle High School girl. Her name's Sero Cardamone, i.e., I think it was Holt, your maiden name was Holt, I think. Met her at 16. She's been my solid companion ever since that. She's given me 2 wonderful children. I also found our way path to play collegiate basketball and baseball as well. And I had a priest come up to me not long ago, and he says, I need to tell you this, but I think the day you die, the Catholic Church will start the petition to get Carrie to start the beatification process for sainthood. And I said, well, Father, doesn't that happen after she dies? He goes, she suffered enough, son. So, and I'm not joking about that one. But again, thank you for the nomination. Thank you for the inductees. And as I said earlier, it just brought back a ton of memories that I can't be even more appreciative for. And let me end by saying this. The biggest thanks is from God. He sent his only son on the greatest rescue mission in this world. And even to save someone like myself who is a sinner so that I can have eternal life with him. So I thank you for listening.
Great job, Phil. Our next inductee this evening will be Joe Rizzo Jr. He will be escorted by Joe Rizzo Sr. and Chris Robbins. Joe Rizzo Jr. excelled as a dual sports athlete in baseball and football at Niagara Falls High School, earning multiple all-league and all-area honors. He continued his baseball baseball career at Niagara University, earning all MAC honorable mention and played semi-pro with the Niagara Falls Mariners. Transitioning to coaching, Rizzo has mentored young athletes at Niagara University, American Legion Baseball, Niagara Jr. Purple Eagles, Lewis and Porter High School, and Niagara Falls High School, earning the 2022 Niagara PAL Sportsman of the Year Award for his dedication to youth sports. Tonight he was inducted into the Greater Niagara Falls Sports Hall of Fame, honoring his achievements as both an athlete and coach. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to call up my cousin, Joe Rizzo Jr. Joseph.
Sero Cardamone. It's just so surreal for me. There are people who made me feel inspired, motivated, and proud to be a part of this community. To now be on the same team with them forever is an honor. Thank you to the board of directors for the recognition, your dedication to preserving the legacy of Niagara Falls athletes in the surrounding area. It means a lot, not just to me, but I'm sure everybody here in the room today. My journey in sports has been shaped by incredible mentors. Joe Jacob, John Tiemann, Mike Martin, Jim Morrow, Darryl Kemp, Ron Lee, George Lenz from my Little League days back at Rockville Park. A lot of Rockville Park alumni here today, right? Yeah. Unbelievable mentors for me and inspired me to be the athlete and coach and team leader that I am today. They've taught, all of them taught me something different, not just about the game, but about leadership, character, heart. They didn't just coach me, they made me feel capable, challenged, and valued. It was my father's influence that led me to coaching. And I've been coaching longer than I've been a player, which is remarkable as I sat down to write what I'm reading for you today. Inspiring others to greatness, unlocking potential has been an absolute blast for me. I've had the privilege to coach at every level, from T-ball to college. And with each experience, I've learned new ways to be effective, to connect, and to grow. This past year was the most magical experience I've had, coaching with Coach Augustino of the Niagara Falls High School Wolverines, who went to the States and ended up being ranked 5th in the state last year. This remarkable season that I was able to be part of. To my family, thank you for the unwavering support. My mom, who made my uniform crisp and always ready, food on the table, and often acted as a referee after some tough games we had in high school. Your quiet strength made everything possible, so thanks, Mom, I love you. To my dad, your grit, determination, and competitive spirit have shaped me in ways I'll never be able to fully express. You've given me a gift that I carry with me every day. I love you, thank you. To my wife, kids, and especially my son, like I was coached by my father, passing that torch has been a full circle moment that I'll always treasure. Thanks, Jake. And to my sister, brother, and family, to my friends who are here tonight, thank you. You've always been there for me through every season, every game, every chapter. Your love and support mean more than I can even say. I truly appreciate you. And to two friends that surprised me today, wasn't in the speech, I didn't know you were coming. So it's amazing when you, two colleagues that I work with for long periods of time, and we all have the opportunity to work, right? We work with people, we work more than we actually spend time with our family at times. And sometimes you don't understand or realize how close a bond, friendship, and love you may have with those that you work with. Flying in from New Jersey, flying in from Boston, is surprising. It means a lot to me. So thank you guys, I love you. There are many gifted athletes in this room today. I believe it's our responsibility to share that gift with others. Coaching, mentoring, lifting others up, it's how we give back. It's how we leave a legacy. Because in the end, it's not just about what we said or what we did. It's about how we made people feel. And if I made someone feel inspired, supported, or believed in, then I've done something truly meaningful. Thanks. It's a big honor for me. Hope you enjoy the rest of the evening. God bless.
Great job, Joe. For the sake of clarity, Joe went over 5 minutes, but my uncle would have gave me a shot, so I didn't say anything. One thing, Joe, you did mention I was your intramural wrestling coach at Gasfield Junior High School, which obviously is why you went to football and baseball. Our next inductee, as we move along, ladies and gentlemen, Mary DelSignore, Mr. Edshore is playing for Gentile. Mary DelSignore excelled in basketball, softball, soccer, and volleyball in high school, earning all Niagara Frontier League and all West New York honors. At Buffalo State College, she became Lady Bengal MVP, SUNYAC Player of the Year, set 6 school basketball records, and earned all SUNYAC and all ECAC honors. In softball, she hit .430 and earned all state recognition, inducted into multiple halls of fame, including Niagara Falls High School, Buffalo State College, and the West New York Softball Hall of Fame. DelSignore has also built a 20-year coaching career across multiple sports, and tonight she's inducted into the Greater Niagara Falls Sports Hall of Fame, honoring her achievements as both athlete and mentor. Ladies and gentlemen, Mary DelSignore.
Good evening. First, I would like to thank the committee for honoring me with this prestigious award. I want to congratulate my fellow inductees and say it is an honor to be in your company. I have had the great fortune to have been inducted into Niagara Falls High School, Buffalo State College, and the West New York Softball Athletic Hall of Fame. I honestly never thought I would be honored again for participating in something I love so much. I am truly grateful and honored to have been selected for this award. I'd like to thank my parents, Angelo and Helen, which my mom is here. And my sisters, Joanna and Katie, and my niece Adriana, and all the DelSignores that came, and the Fudos, and my friends. Thank you very much. I appreciate your support. Hold on, next week. When I was young, my dad attached a basketball hoop to our garage on 17th Street. There weren't any girls in the neighborhood who played basketball, so I played with Katie and all the boys, including the Zafudos, the Gregorios, the Antonios, and the Biancos. Was Niagara Falls not so Italian back then? I couldn't have asked for a better childhood. I got my butt kicked every day by those boys, but I truly feel that is why I became a stronger player. We had a disgruntled neighbor that did not like that we played basketball every day in our alley until it was dark outside. Several times he snuck out in the middle of the night and took our rim down off of our garage, and the very next day my dad would buy a new one and put it right back up. This went on until finally my dad figured out who it was, had one conversation with this man, and it never happened again. Thank you, Dad. Then there was the next chapter, the Boys Club on 17th Street. My friends and I would go there every day after school and all summer long. Unfortunately, they did not permit girls at the time to play on any basketball teams, so I would watch all the Biancos, the Pudos, all the boys. Everybody got to play but me. And when I would go home upset, my dad would drop everything he was doing, grab the basketball, we'd go in the alley and play basketball until it got dark out. I'll never forget that. Then came Midtown Little League. There weren't any softball teams at the time, and somehow my dad got me on a baseball team. Finally. I loved playing and being part of a team. I played for 3 or 4 years until they finally formed a softball league. These were the years that my passion for basketball and softball formed. These years lighted my passion for both basketball and softball. I was hooked. I went on to Niagara Catholic to play basketball for 2 years under Coach Pat Mills. She was a wonderful coach. However, all my friends went to Niagara Falls High School. I went home and begged my parents to let me transfer there, and they finally agreed my junior year. There I played basketball, softball, volleyball, and soccer under the great coaching staff of Beth Bullock, Guy Tom Sotillo, Ducky Bellavia, and Art Eberhard. I know Art's here somewhere. Where are you, Art? Oh, okay. Hope you have a good night. My senior year was the most memorable season of my basketball career. Not only was I playing with great teammates such as Julie Bellavia, Regina Austin, the late Erica Rivers, and several others, and our team finished the season with a 21-1 record. My fondest memory of that 1988 season was when we played Lockport High School in Lockport for the sectional championship. The gym was packed and the game came down to the final seconds. We were down by 2 points when I intercepted a pass and was fouled with 1 second left in regulation. We were in the 1-1 and I had to go to the free throw line. Talk about pressure. Everyone on the team, including myself, knew I was the worst free throw shooter on the team. Somehow I made both free throws, sent the game into overtime, and we won the game. That memory still resonates with me today. Then came college. My best friend Julie Bellavia and I were offered full basketball scholarships to Damon College. We played under one of the greatest coaches I ever had, Steve Sukowski, who I still remain friends with today. Steve, can you please stand? He came to honor me today. Our senior year, they dropped the women's basketball program and we decided to transfer to Buffalo State College so we could continue to play. This was a great decision. We were allowed to play basketball for 1 year under the great Dr. Gail Maloney and softball for 2 years under the late Coach Sandy Hollander. So we could have graduated, but we stayed 1 more year to play 2 years of softball, which was fun back then, you know, who wanted to leave? The athletics department even gave us jobs to work all the athletic events at the sports facility. I learned so much from watching other players, and this experience encouraged me to pursue my master's in sports administration from Canisius College. I was then hired as the ice arena manager at Buffalo State College. I truly loved that job, but a new athletic director came in and combined my job with another position, and I was let go. Their loss. I was then hired by Delaware North to be the ice rink manager at the Ambrose Pepsi Center when it first opened. Little did I know, I was required to work all afternoon shifts and every Sunday at 6 a.m. I hated the schedule, and under the advice of my good friend Deb Montos, went back to school to become a physical education teacher. I was then hired by the Buffalo Board of Education, where I'm now entering my 24th year at Bennett High School as a PE teacher and varsity coach. To say this is my calling is an understatement. I've had the privilege to coach varsity boys baseball, soccer, bowling, and tennis, and girls basketball, soccer, softball, tennis, and bowling. As I reflect back on all the stages of my athletic career, youth, high school, college, and coaching, I realize that all of my experiences have shaped me as the person, teacher, and coach that I am today. I'm glad that I'm able to positively impact the youth of Buffalo. I have coached and taught over the years, and so grateful to give back and share the knowledge I've gained throughout my life. Once again, thank you so much for the Greater Niagara Sports Hall of Fame.
Congratulations. Our next inductee this evening is Joe Etopio, and he's escort to 20 years. Joe Etopio is a Niagara Falls basketball standout. At LaSalle Senior High School from 1980 to 84, he led his team to multiple championships, including an undefeated 16-0 season, earning MVP honors, all West New York and Niagara Gazette All-Star selections, and posting career highs of 40 points and 22 rebounds in a game. He continued his career at Nazareth College, making New York State Division III Freshman All-Star team, and then at University of Buffalo from 85 to 87, where he was a key contributor and team leader. Tonight, Joe Etopio is inducted into the Greater Niagara Falls Sports Hall of Fame, honoring his achievements in the sport of basketball. Joseph?
Hi, I'm that guy. A big thank you, Tony. Thank you for the induction. Greater Niagara Sports Hall of Fame. Thank you so much. It's a real honor. It truly is. Thanks to all taking. Taking the time out of your weekend to be here. It's really humbling. It's amazing. My tables, family, friends, can't even tell you what it means, so thank you. I'd like to start really quick by thanking all the coaches that have ever touched me in whatever ways. Some of the main ones, Camann, Dan Bazzani, Rich Jacobs. We may not have seen, or kind of, we clashed, let's just call it what it is. But I swear to you, life lessons to this day. So, thank you for that. Billy Klinger-Smith, you know this is random, but you did play a role. You were always so supportive and so, you're just a good dude. So thank you. Probably my biggest coaching influence was Michael Hamilton, who back then I really didn't know it. Social media has changed the world, but Mike Hamilton was like my AAU coach. I didn't know it. We just hung out and his Grand Prix, he drove us to all these events, to all these different places, and he was the most unselfish, giving, caring coach. So supportive. It's just amazing. We would go to, again, this is 1980s. We would go to Buffalo. Now I'm an Italian kid in Niagara Falls I didn't know Buffalo was what it was. And he would take me under his wing with our team. We would go to Buffalo. And I'm telling you folks, it was scary. The crowds were amazingly mean. They didn't like Niagara Falls people. But Mike, again, 16, 17 years old, he would say, I had to write it down. He would say, listen, Joe. He would say, they're scared of you. You're a white guy, you're not used to that. And
represent Niagara Falls. And in my young mind, it's all I needed. And thanks, man. Really, really appreciate it. For what it's worth, I would have walked through a wall for you, and I did many a times. Thanks to all the players I've ever played with, the support on and off the court. Anthony Genie, for one, was just part of our team. Just wonderful memories. It's just really, truly amazing. I do have to mention one person, and people who know me as a ball player know that I was a decent player, I guess, right? But I had a point guard. His name was Rodney Ingram. Rockin' Rodney. He was an unselfish human being on the basketball court there ever was. He had more assists. He would do anything to get me the ball. I got all the accolades. I'm getting this. And a lot of people that know, I might not be here if it wasn't for Rodney. He was a tremendous point guard, a tremendous friend. He's in heaven now, but thank you, Rodney. As a young person, I'm talking 12, 13 years old, I would go to the park across the street from where I live. Peter DiFrancesco, a friend of our family, was a couple years older than me. And I would go to the court, this cocky kid, I think I'm all that. And Pete's there, and he's 2 years older, and he's shooting the ball from 30 feet. Before you know it, whenever he's there, he would let me shoot on his end of the court, which was cool for a little kid who just wanted to be accepted. Not only was I accepted, but he was so giving of his time, just a nice, supportive human being, and that's what I needed at that point. So, Pete, thank you. This is where it gets tough. Anyone that knows me knows my entire world are my two daughters. I'm a proud girl dad. I wouldn't have it any other way. I've had this dad body since they were born. They don't know that I was a little bit of a decent basketball player. And now this is kind of the culmination and the documentation I needed. So, thank you, girls, for making my life complete. Folks, I am so sorry. My sisters, who are amazing, you gotta understand, I'm a few years younger than them. And they were so popular in high school. They set the table for their little brother to go. The teachers loved them. So I had an advantage. They were cheerleaders. They were presidents. They were all this. And I had to go to school and I had to do my part as an Etopio, right? So they guided me. They still do to this day. They have my back every day. So thank you. My sister. Joanne and Mary. Talking Hall of Famers, guys. The Hall of Famer, my mom. You guys, this lady has been through hell and back with me. And just can't put words. You are the Hall of Famer. Who's in heaven would love to have his name on the plaque. And I'm sure he's on a big screen TV in heaven watching this right now. He's proud of himself, I'm sure. He would come to an occasional practice. my dad the only dad that would come to a practice. And knowing what I know now as an adult, how cool is that? Like, I was embarrassed as a kid to have my dad show up, but I'm doing the same shit. I'm doing the same stuff with my kids. So there's some kind of thing going on there, and I got the gene too. So thank you, Dad. One more thing about my parents. When you go to Buffalo and you go to this place, it's Martin Luther King Park. It is thousands of people, right, Mike? Thousands of people. And I swear I felt like the only white person there. And my parents were a speck in an audience of thousands of people drinking beer, smoking whatever they were smoking. And my poor little parents sat there like champs and watched the kid play. So thank you again. And lastly, again, my apologies. Preparing for this induction, you guys reopened the door to my younger days, and I can't even tell you, how you get older, you kind of forget a lot of the past, but giving this nomination, and again, thank you everyone that's involved in this. Really opened up my mind and thoughts, and I just have nothing but true gratitude and thank you for everyone that's in this building, for anyone that voted for me to be on this stage, and the ones that didn't, it's okay. But I've never loved like I love right this minute, so thank you.
Apologize. Again, 6'5", what am I going to do? Great job, Joseph. You're not ruining the party. I like your sneaks, Joe.
Ron James.
Our next inductee is Terry Camann, escorted by Terry Camann is one of the region's most accomplished bowlers. His career highlights include winning the 1983 Western and Central New York 6-game combine, multiple Niagara Falls City Tournament titles, and a third-place finish at the prestigious 1997 Las Vegas Shootout against elite national competition. Known for his consistency in record-breaking performances, he bowled 20 perfect 300 games, 15 800 series, and twice set the Niagara Falls City scoring record with an 857 series. He was a 9-time Meet the Champ TV show competitor, and Camann was inducted in the Niagara Falls Bowling Hall of Fame in 1994. Tonight he is inducted in the Greater Niagara Sports Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, Terry Camann.
It's a great honor and privilege to be associated with such an elite group of athletes. The last 2 months I've received an outpouring of congratulatory sentiments from many past acquaintances, some even dating back over 40 years. Bowling was always a passion of mine since I've been a youth. I always aspired to be a professional bowler. Every Saturday was set aside for bowling. In the mornings I'd be bowling in my junior leagues. The afternoon, they had the Pro Bowlers Tour. It came out at 3:30, followed by the Beat the Champ show. My family would sit around the TV and watch that intently for the next 2 hours. It was incredible. Got to see some of my idols. It was a fantastic time. There have been a handful of people that were instrumental in my success. First, my parents who got me started, whose love, encouragement, and support still lives under my heart. Secondly, to my coach at NCCC, Roy Summer, He preached the importance of fundamentals and making spares, which is big in bowling. Today's game is throwing a lot of strikes, but if you don't make your spares, the strikes don't mean a thing. He guided our team to win the Junior NCAA Championship in 1976, which we went on to bowl against four-year schools in a couple months, against four-year schools that provided scholarships to bowlers, which obviously NCCC did not, and we finished third overall, which was a pretty big accomplishment for them. We were basically all sophomores. The person most responsible for my career advancement is a good friend of mine, Roger Korn, who took me under his wing when I was 22 years old and helped me polish up my game. He provided both mentorship and financial support, which allowed me to compete in various tournaments in the greater Buffalo and Niagara area. I've been a member of some very good championship teams, most notably the Louisville Landy Trophies team. Little was a 1978 inductee. The Bison Sausage team out of Buffalo, and the Bolodrome team that finished in 4th place out of 20,000 teams at the ABC tournament in 1996 in Huntsville, Alabama. The top 3 teams that beat us were members of Team USA and members of the Professional Bowler Tour. So being 5 local guys that went out there and competed against the best, I thought that was one hell of an accomplishment. And to this day, I'm very proud of that. As all athletes know, and I'm sure everybody else as well, opportunities are essential to advance to different levels in sports. You have to keep stepping up another level and moving out of your element. Sometimes it's a little uncomfortable, but to succeed in the sport, you need to do that. Competing in tournaments in local, regional, and national level is a good measuring stick to see how you stacked up against other talents across the country. Some of the other highlights of my career, not mentioned in my bio, some I might be duplicating, but these are still very important in my bowling career. Only my first 300 game, as Bob had mentioned earlier, on winning the 6-game Camann event in the Western and Central New York tournament held in Rochester in 1983. My very first 300 game, I had many other chances, and at that time it was, oh my God, I just did it, I don't believe it. It was pretty surreal. Twice finishing in the top 10 in the singles event out of approximately 40 to 50,000 entrants at the National ABC tournament during my career. In 1980 and 81, always, as I mentioned earlier, I always aspired to be a professional bowler. I won an entry into the Pro Bowlers event in Buffalo, held at Thruway Lanes, through a local qualifier, which you had, I think they only gave out like 5 or 6 spots, and there was like over 200 participants, so I feel very blessed that I was able to do that. Competing against the top professionals, whom I idolized, it was a very surreal moment. You're just looking at, all of a sudden you're looking at Earl Anthony, Mark, well, I don't know if his names are familiar, but the people know bowling. To bowl against them, and they're standing next to you, and I go, what's this little dude from Niagara Falls doing up against a competition like that? But I did very relatively well. I finished in the middle of the pack, but I didn't win any money. It was, however, a rewarding experience that I've never forgotten. It did, in fact, open up my youthful eyes that traveling across the country and living out of a suitcase to try and earn a living is not for me. As it was mentioned, I made 9 appearances on the Beat the Champ show. One of my other accomplishments, I was Bowling for Fighters League in Western New York had a travel league where you submitted your name into a pool of bowlers. I was selected, 3rd pick overall, selected back in 1981 for that league. It was a very prestigious league. We had bowlers from all over Western New York. It's something I'm very proud that I was a part of. My induction to the Niagara Falls Bowling Hall of Fame in 1994, and finally winning league championships locally and maintaining the highest average in the league in over 60% of the leagues that I participated in. My friend and teammate Jim Martino provided me with a lot of opportunities through financial support, mainly for mega tournaments for amateurs out in Las Vegas every year, where a first prize would be up to $100,000. In 1997, he sponsored me for 2 weeks to compete in several tournaments out in Las Vegas. As it was mentioned, I finished 3rd in the showboat shootout, which I competed against members of Team USA and other international Olympians. were several of them that went on to be professional bowlers themselves. As it was mentioned, I finished third and cashed for $7,500. However, it was a very emotional time, and bear with me, this is going to be a little tough to get through. My father was diagnosed with terminal cancer just before I left, and I wasn't sure I was going to make the trip. Anyways, I did get out there, and luckily I made the telecast, and luckily, through some strings that we pulled, I got the tape to my father. He saw it in the morning of the day he passed in the afternoon, so to me that was pretty touching. I was blessed to have competed in over 25 years and cherish all my accomplishments. However, at some time, an athlete's career must come to an end. Unfortunately, mine was cut short at the age of 44 due to a spinal injury that required surgery. So it was time for me to step aside. As athletes, as our playing days are over, how nice it is to reflect and reminisce and try the wonderful friendships we have made. But how nice it would be back to do it all over again. In closing, I would like to thank the Greater Niagara Sports Hall of Fame Board of Directors for their approval of my enshrinement and congratulate the other 8 inductees. Finally, a special thank you to my beautiful wife, my 2 sons, daughter, and the rest of my family and friends who are attending tonight for your love and support. It means the world to me. For the rest of you, have a great night and enjoy the evening.
Great job, Gary. Congratulations. Our next inductee this evening, Joe Daul, and his husband, Dave Burrow. Joe Daul is a Niagara Catholic High School standout who excelled in both football and basketball. On the football field, he earned first team All-New York State, All-Catholic, and All-City honors. Was team MVP and captain, and received multiple prestigious awards, including the Sertoma Club Award and Mal Athlete of the Year Award in 1982. In basketball, he contributed to a league championship and served as tri-captain. Daul was inducted into the Niagara Catholic High School Sports Hall of Fame in 2018, and tonight, Joe Daul is inducted into the Greater Niagara Sports Hall of Fame, honoring his legacy of talent and leadership. Joseph?
I got you, man. Mine's not going to be as long as yours, I promise. I was told 5 minutes. That's what it's going to be. Congratulations to all the inductees who are entering Greater Niagara Sports Hall of Fame tonight. Along with me, it's an honor and a privilege. Definitely the election committee, thank you for this great honor. To my family, friends, classmates, coaches, Coach Stan Bauer, he coached me years ago. The Coach Canino, Coach Cautious, love those guys to death. You look at your programs, they're also inducted. So going back a few months ago, I got a phone call from Dave Burrow, good friend of mine. If anybody knows Dave, you can talk to him on the phone. It's an hour conversation, and I only get 2 words in. So basically, congratulates me, telling me about this great honor. So right away I said, hey, do I gotta give a speech? He said, yeah. For the next 58 minutes, he told me everything I needed to say. First of all, I wanted to thank Tim. He had nothing to do with my accolades back in the day. I didn't even know him. We became friends when I started coaching our kids together in Little League sports. So one of the things I got away from his conversation with me was talk about people who inspire you. And it's easy. My mom and dad, obviously, no longer here. They're in heaven. If I were to make this speech about them, I'd never be able to make it through. So to Mark and Joe and Daul, love you. The Brundage family knows my mom and dad. They came out tonight. Let's get to the point athletically to my 2 older brothers. Mark and Dan, who are here tonight, you guys inspire me the most. Mark is 5 years older, Dan is 4.
When I started playing Little League football, they were at Bishop Duffy, back before the Niagara Catholic. My first experience, obviously is going to Hyde Park Stadium on Friday night, that fall air, crisp weather. The crowd just, back then, you had a lot of people come to those games. I don't care if it was Niagara Catholic playing, Niagara Falls, Trot, Lake South, people showed up to watch these teams play. The first game that got me thinking I wanted to play for Duffy and the Neal brothers, and experience feeling Friday night life was when my brother was a junior, and my brother Mark was a junior, Danny was a sophomore. They go into Lockport to play undefeated in Sales High School, who was always ranked in the small schools in New York State. In Lockport, their homecoming field, Duffy wins 12-7. Big upset. Wasn't supposed to happen. I was going to start it off with the year before when my brother Mark was a sophomore. He might not like me to say this. It was one of my first games ever to go to against the Sales. The year before, the Sales beat us 41-0. I don't know if you remember that, Mark. I remember you didn't want to talk to me when we got home. Now my brother Mark, senior, brother Dan is a junior, along with his Spanbauer brothers, John and Tom. Tom was mentioned earlier, he's also in the Sports Hall of Fame. The Sales, again, was the team that came in to Hyde Park Stadium, ranked number 1 in the state, undefeated. Niagara Catholic jumps out on them 12-0. I'm just a 12-year-old kid, I'm thinking this is the biggest upset in the world. Second half, the Sales comes back, ties the game. We get in late in the fourth quarter, here's the Sales marching down the field. They line up and kick a 46-yard field goal. True story, 46-yard field goal in high school. I'm a little kid, I'm up on my parents up in the top row, I run down, I get down to the goal line where that ball's supposed to sail over. Kick goes up, it's short by 2 yards. The referee that was down there that day, I don't know what he was looking at, called it good field goal. They lost 15-12, and I'll tell you to this day, it was a tie ball game. So Mark graduates, brother Dan is a senior on a very good Niagara Catholic team, along with the Spanbauer brothers. Tom and John, Pat McCarthy, Bowie Rise, list of names can go on. Canisius High School, which is a large school that recruits kids, pays kids to go to their high school. Niagara Catholic is just a bunch of tough North End Catholic boys playing football. Most of the teams in Niagara Catholic ever had, those kids never played youth football. The Neal brothers basically molded when they were young. Made teams out of them by the time they're juniors and seniors. So here's Canisius on a 47-game unbeaten streak. They haven't lost in 6 years. They had 3 or 4 players, always in the Buffalo News, Courier Express every week. They're going to Division I, which they did. They didn't know that night. They ran into a buzzsaw. Niagara Catholic basically, I'm going to say this again, tough Niagara Falls North End kids physically kicked their ass in here. I know you don't like me to swear, but they kicked their ass 20-6. So the next day I get up, I basically read the Niagara Stats, Courier, Buffalo News, back in the day when they had 3 newspapers. What I didn't know that day, that time when I was 12, 13 years old, was the last team that beat Canisius before that 6-year unbeaten streak was Bishop Duffy. To me, that's amazing. You're talking St. Joe's, your Timons, your Francis, and God knows who other Catholic schools were playing then. To finish this up, I'm 6'4", but I'm not Joe. As a young kid, I always tried to be good as my brothers. Mark and Dan are the 2 who inspired me the most athletically. And to you, I say thank you. I'm not going to discuss my athletic career, but I do want to tell you one last story. My grandfather, Roxy, who we all love, he would make scrapbooks for each one of us every year. Anytime our teams played, whether we won or lost, whether our names were in the paper or not, he cut that article out and he put it in the scrapbook. He gave it to us every year. I always thought that was so cool. We still have those books today. You know, I tried sometimes to show my kids, my 2 boys, they sort of laughed it off because they had their own individual high school careers, but that's okay. It was a lot of fun, good times. To finish this up, I'm now in my junior year of high school. being recruited by Division 1, 2, and 3 schools, basically getting pulled in on a class every week. I'm basically, our work is done, I don't like it, being treated like a big man on campus in a very small school. Yada, 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 yada. I'm not one for accolades. This is tough for me to even give you this speech. But the main part of this story is I come home one night, my father's sitting there, and he tells his your grandfather, Grandpa Roxy, is being inducted to the Old Timers Hall of Fame. That used to be the name of this back when it started in 1968. The reason why I bring that up is my grandfather never once told me about his accolades, his sports career, none of that. He was a grandfather through and through, loved his grandkids, and to me I always took that as though I'm going to be just like him too. I'm not going to brag, I'm not going to, whatever. I'll always take that with me. And if you look at the program, 1980, you'll see that my grandfather was inducted. His name was Roxy Daul. Great man of very few words. But I always remember attending that ceremony. It was outside at Hyde Park picnic area. It was back when we used to be outside. Mostly men. I don't even think women were allowed to come then, to be honest with you. But what I remember the most was his short speech and how he ended it. So I'm going to end my speech the same way Grandpa Bad Boy Roxy did. He thanks the election committee and spoke into the microphone and said, keep this going on forever. But by God, what you guys have, it's a testament to you folks. I know there's some struggles at one point. You guys all got together, got it going again. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I am truly honored. And one last time, thank you. God bless the USA.
Congratulations, Joe. Our next inductee, Mike Gentile, and his escort, Dan Mazzani. Mike Gentile has had a lifelong impact on sports as an athlete, coach, administrator, and mentor. A multi-sport athlete at Niagara Falls High School and John Carroll University, he coached youth and collegiate teams, including Niagara PAL and NCCC. He served in athletic administration at Kent State, UB, UTEP, and Empire 8 Conference Commissioner, and helped create Niagara University Sports Management Program. A dedicated community advocate, Gentile has supported youth sports through Niagara PAL, the Ralph Wilson Jr. Niagara Community Center, and Project Play WNY. Tonight, Mike Gentile is awarded the DiRamio Service Award for his contributions. Michael.
Whatever you don't applaud because it counts toward my 5 years. First of all, congratulations to all fellow inductees. It's my privilege to be included in your class. I want to thank Joel Holken and the board of the Greater Niagara Sports Hall of Fame, not only for this honor that they have kept DiRamio, but for growing and promoting the hall and for sponsoring this great event. To all my sporting buddies out there, known you someone for 60 years, Bill Sargent, 65, we went to kindergarten together. And now our sports activities are mostly relegated to talking about sports, playing a little golf, and that's mostly a pretense to go have a few beers there. Thanks for being here. I have some family have surprised me by being here. Thank you very much. My sister is here who made some sacrifices for me along the way to achieve my goals. And then she got even with me by, along with her friend Marina Abroli, getting me to coach their women's softball team years ago, and it took years off my life. Finally, a nod to my father, my late father. You may have known him as Smokey, and he taught me, not only did he teach me how to play, he taught me that sports were hard, and that I didn't have to act like a jerk every time I failed. That's a lesson I try to remember. As you can see, I've had several careers, I've had a bunch of jobs. I've had numerous pay cuts along the way. I moved across country twice. I needed a partner who could endure all that and still hold the home and our family together. And that is the true Hall of Famer in my family, my wife, Sue. The one thing she didn't do, she very seldom did any basketball games that I refereed because she didn't figure she had to go to a game to yell at me. So. I had a college football coach who used to tell us, don't worry about what people think about you because they usually don't. And I usually subscribe to that theory, but my friend Paul Kaspersky thought about me. Paul thought enough about my accomplishments that he nominated me for induction into the Hall. Despite my resistance in a lot of respects, and I want to thank you for that, Paul. I kind of now really admit that I've probably done just about everything you can do in the world of sports. And I can tell you a lot of stories about how I've interacted with some of the more legendary sports people that you may have heard of. Like the night in El Paso that I had to buy Al Davis, the owner of the Oakland Raiders, 3 hot dogs. And I wouldn't tell you that to impress you, but to say, I had a lot of fun along the way, and I got paid to do it. And that shouldn't get me into anyone's Hall of Fame. But it's part of my foundation. I started like most of you in places like Liberty Park, City Market, Boys Club, 24th Street, Little League Diamond, moved on to Hyde Park, any open gym I could find, YMCA. I was coached by Art Calabrelli, Frank Scaletta, Chuck Sirianni, Paul Fortunate, Ralph Pinelli, and if you'd like to meet me at the bar later, I will share with you a coaching technique that Joe Rizzo used to use to encourage me not to throw interceptions. When I moved down to John Carroll University, I think that was the first time, Barry, that I was ever coached by someone who wasn't Italian. The truth is, I'm probably a two-sport athlete there. I was a very average athlete, certainly not Hall of Fame quality there either. But it was a big part of my education. And on senior day, 1976 at John Carroll, in fact, there's a picture of me in that game in your program. I had a teammate named Dan Barrett. He went on to be a high school coach and a teacher, and we were standing at midfield. And he said, you know, if we just spend all the time that we spend working out, weightlifting, practicing, if we just spent that time playing the piano, 40 or 50 years from now, we could still play the piano. And I always thought about that. So I went on from there. I graduated from law school, started practicing law. Didn't really care for that. Thought I should start a career in sports. Got myself a master's degree in sport administration. After about almost a 2-year job search, I ended up being hired at UB after I told them I would work for nothing. And they came pretty close to meeting my salary demands, and that's how I had to get her started. From there, I went to Texas El Paso, fascinating place. Came back from the Empire 8. Again, learned a lot, all part of my foundation. Being a college professor was never on my radar. But at times, that's some of the hardest things I had ever done. But education in sport was basically who I was. So I got hired at Niagara University to start first an undergraduate and then a graduate sport management program. We attracted a lot of students. I have a colleague here from Tennessee who helped me, Dexter Davis. And we attracted students and we found them jobs. And we did it by learning some of the lessons that I had in my job search was you got to create experience, you have to create networks. And that's what we did. We at one point ran about a 90% placement rate, 65% in the industry, which is really good. Okay. Our alumni now working just about every professional sports league, major colleges, NASCAR, UFC, PGA, but they're also directors of YMCA's, Boys and Girls Clubs, Special Olympics, and Positive Coaching Alliance. Some are even bankers, insurance brokers, teachers, lawyers, and even a nurse. And I'm proud of the value that we've added to their degrees. And true to our mission, they also took classes like Special Olympic Coaching and management and sport-based youth mentoring, where they went out to and reached out to students in the Niagara Falls City and charter schools to talk to them about their future goals. I've always pursued a path, as you've heard, using sport to benefit the community. organizations that promote youth sports, and I still do. Niagara Police Athletic League, I've been involved for 50 years off and on. Okay, the Ralph Wilson Jr. Foundation and the community center has its mission providing sport and recreation activities to an underserved population. And I've been on the board of advisors of Project Play Western New York since its inception. And that's an organization that tries to provide health and physical fitness and sport activities in the 8 counties of Western New York. And I've been the primary Niagara County representative since its inception. And that organization tries to broaden the base of participation through things like sports sampling, free play, training sport coaches, and providing access to facilities, all in an effort to keep kids active and prevent them from being burnt out, priced out, or pushed out of youth sports. So, in closing, next weekend I'm going back to John Carroll for a reunion. I'm not sure I'm going to see my friend Dan Barron there. But if I did, I think I would tell him, Dan, no, I can't play the piano. But I think I found something pretty valuable and pretty useful to do with my interest and experience in sport. And in that context, I'm pleased to accept this honor. Thank you.
Good job, Mike. Congratulations. Our next inductee will be Joe Agnello, and accepting on his behalf will be his son Michael, and escorted by Joel Holka. Joseph C. Agnello is celebrated tonight for his outstanding defensive football career and lasting impact on the sport. At Lewis and Porter High School, he was a 2-time first-team all-defensive selection, team captain in the inaugural Niagara Frontier Football Classic, and part of an undefeated 1974 season. At Ithaca College, he became a 3-year letterman, recording 68 tackles, 6 interceptions, and 2 fumble recoveries, inspiring the creation of the annual Joe Agnello Award for dedication and intensity. He was invited to the Oakland Raiders training camp, but sidelined by injury. His legacy is honored through inductions into the Lewis and Porter High School Sports Hall of Fame, and for time as his youth coach in Massachusetts. Tonight, Joe Agnello is inducted into the Greater Niagara Falls Sports Hall of Fame. Accepting is his son, Michael Agnello. Michael.
Congratulations to all the other inductees tonight, and I want to thank the Greater Niagara Sports Hall of Fame for this recognition and honor and giving me the opportunity to say a few words. I'm here representing the Agnello family. Got my mother Katie, my siblings Joseph and Grace here, my Aunt Susan, and my wife Emily, who's pregnant with the next generation. I'm also glad that some of his former teammates at Newport are here representing, so thank you guys for being here. Okay, I want to take you back. It is early in the 77 season. Ithaca is hosting St. Lawrence. There are 7,000 plus fans on hand, with the local paper dubbed the small college game of the year. Late in the third quarter, Ithaca holds a narrow 17-14 lead, and St. Lawrence has a 4th and goal from the 1-yard line. They run a sweep. Number 32 for the Bombers, Joe Agnello, sniffs it out and makes a tackle for a 3-yard loss. The Bombers held on to win the game, and afterward, Coach Butterfield, legendary coach, commented that the goal line stand was a momentum shift. Momentum is a term used a lot in sports. Big plays create momentum, winning creates momentum for a season. But what my dad learned from football, and what he passed down to us, my siblings and me, is that the most powerful kind of momentum isn't created in a single instance. It's created in small moments, the preparation for what you want to accomplish. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, football is a physical sport, right? Anyone who's gone through the season knows that it's long, it's a grind, you need to endure an intense amount of mental and physical pain, and the only way that you can get through it and still play at a high level, like my dad did, is to prepare in the offseason. Get your body in shape, be disciplined about what you eat, do the right things when no one's watching. So that's what the Joe Agnello Award at Ithaca College stands for. It honors a player at Ithaca each year who leans into this part of the game, who's willing to do that hard work day in and day out. When my brother Joseph and I played, our Our dad rarely critiqued our on-field play, but he'd be very frustrated if we didn't take the preparation seriously. I mean, I can remember being in 7th grade. I'm trying to enjoy my summer vacation like a kid, and he'd be on my case. Did you go for a run today? Got first practice in 30 days. Or later on, when my brother and I were on the varsity team, we were both starting defensive backs, just like our dad, by the way. He made it clear to us that the winter lifting program, the voluntary captain's practice, was not voluntary. We didn't hear about his battles with North Tonawanda or his all-state selections. What he wanted us to take away was that football taught him that hard things are worth being consistent and persistent for. That success is always going to be the result of doing the hard work and doing it day in and day out. So whatever our passions were, my brother Joseph with music, my sister Grace with dance, our dad was supportive as long as we showed that we cared enough to practice and get better at it each day. That's what he wanted us to absorb. Because once his playing days were over, he found his rhythm in business by applying the same mindset that helped him in football. We saw him each and every day, up and out of the house early, home late. On Saturday mornings, he'd take my brother and me to his office. He'd give us cleaning supplies and ask us to tidy up while he works some more. He was quietly putting in the hours each day to build his company, to earn the trust of his employees and customers, and provide for his family. My dad's greatness, it wasn't built in a single play or a single deal for his company. He built it over years in his everyday habits, in how he showed up for his family, for his friends, his teammates, his employees, and his community. So here we are, more than a decade after his passing, and that force that he set in motion hasn't stopped yet. There's too much inertia for it to stop. I'm proud that his resume is still growing, and that we can add greater Niagara Sports Hall of Famers here. He deserves it. Proud to be his son, and I'm proud to carry on his legacy. I'm grateful for all of you remembering him with me tonight. Thank you.
Great job, Mike. Our next and final inductee this evening is Dave Brundage. And David Brundage is a future sports star, best known for his football excellence at Niagara Catholic High School, where he earned All Catholic, All Niagara Gazette, All West New York, All State, and 10 All-American honors, as well as being a Camann Cup finalist in 1987. He went on to play football at the University of Buffalo and has been inducted into the Niagara Catholic High School Sports Hall of Fame. Tonight, we are proud to induct Dave Brundage into the Greater Niagara Falls Sports Hall of Fame, recognizing his lasting impact on the region's sports legacy. David?
Thanks, Bob. Bob promised me if I keep him to 3 minutes, I get extra ice cream tonight. Good evening, everyone. First off, let's start by thanking the Hall of Fame Committee for this incredible honor, and all of you for being here tonight to celebrate this great moment. I am truly humbled to be part of the Greater Niagara Sports Hall of Fame class of 2025, alongside this group of exceptional athletes. Congratulations to you, your families, and your colleges. This honor goes beyond personal achievement. It represents every coach who believed in me, from Little to high school to college. For every teammate who pushed me to excel, and all support my family and friends on and off the field. I'd like to throw a special shout out to Joe Daul. In 2018, Joe and I were I got inducted to the Hall of Fame. And before the ceremony happened, the Catholic Diocese caught wind, so they decided to close the school. Seriously, Joe was a great mentor to me, a great coach, and I appreciate everything he's done for me. Thank you, Joe. I would also like to recognize my 1987 football team. Unfortunately, we were the last team to win the has given me so much lifelong friendships, lessons, and resilience, and memories I can carry forever. I'd like to express my gratitude to my family, starting with my parents. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for your love, your support, encouragement. It was the foundation of everything I've accomplished. Your everyday guidance shaped me into who I am today. I know if Dad were here today, be very proud. To my big brother John, thank you for being my rock, my motor. You pushed me to be better. Thank you for inspiring me and helping me chase my dreams. My sister Julie and Diana, thank you for putting up with me. Because that was always easy. And being my cheerleaders. I'd like to thank my wife Leah. We have been a great team from the start. You were and still are my cheerleader. The family and life we have created with our children Madison and Mitchell is the greatest joy and proudest achievement. Finally, I want to thank my son Mitchell for being my hero, for teaching us all the real meaning of life and appreciation of new days. Thank you, love you, and God bless.
Great job, David. Yes, you earned that ice cream. You just got to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to congratulate once again all of our inductees. And before you go, I just want to thank this crowd for being so attentive, because take it from one who knows, this is a night that our inductees will never forget, and you are a big part of it. Drive safely. We'll see you next year. Good night, everybody.